Is the American dream dead? Hey everybody, this is Michael with Asymmetrical Preparedness. I'm really trying to approach this video in a positive light, in a positive mindset, but there's a lot of problems. I feel the United States of America is still probably the best place to live. But today we're going to talk about what's going on, some of the issues, what things we need to fix in my mind, and this is me personally. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of negative stuff, but I don't want you to get overwhelmed by it. We need to identify these things so we know what needs to be fixed, so that hopefully we can someday restore our once great nation. It's a big list, and this is just me brainstorming. It's just what I came up with in a couple minutes. We've got a lot going on, a lot of things to think about, a lot of things to prepare for. But please don't get overwhelmed. Please don't take this negatively. Like I said, this is just for informational purposes and so that we're aware of these things so we can better prepare ourselves and know, in my mind, what's wrong with our country and where we need to go to fix it. So, and these are just bulleted things. I may speak a little bit on them, but national debt, we all know about that, right? It's untenable. It's out of control. Inflation, we've seen it, right? Rising prices everywhere. Something we have to deal with. Shortages, we've seen that. We've seen shortages all over the place. We know it's happening. We know it's going to get worse. Fuel prices, hot topic, right? Everybody knows about fuel prices, increasing fuel prices. Housing bubble, not talked about very often because of all the other stuff that's problems now. That's going to burst. Seriously, housing costs. A lot of people can't even, they have one, two, three jobs just to afford housing. There's a lot of problems with that. It's a huge bubble right now. Chip shortages for new vehicles. A lot of times you can't even find a new vehicle. Much harder to get. Not that we all need new vehicles. I like older vehicles anyway. But it's another one of those shortages. Hay shortages, which affects livestock, affects feed for animals, lots of different animals. Fertilizer shortages for farms. That's going to affect a lot of things. Fertilizer shortages affect animal feed as well as fruits and vegetables we get from the store. It's starting to rain. I got to shift locations. All right, here I am under the tree. Quick shift of locations. I won't get as wet here. Yeah, that affects a lot. We've seen, what about food availability? Meaning there's a lot of countries out there that are not exporting food anymore. They're stockpiling their own food. That's going to affect availability. That's going to affect prices. That's going to affect you and me. Weak leadership across the board. Not just blaming one person. Across the board, weak leadership. Weak men create hard times, which leads to hard men needing to step up to the plate to create good times again. Remember that. Corruption across the board. Enough said about that. What about healthcare issues? How has the healthcare system changed? Is it easier or more difficult now for you to get proper healthcare? Nurses, doctors not being able to work because they refuse to get the jab because they have free will given to them by their creator, God. Yeah. What about defunding law enforcement? You call 911 now? What's the wait now versus what it used to be? Yeah. Protect yourself. Be ready for that. Which leads to what? Increased crime. Especially theft. What about the homeless crisis in our cities? The tent cities. The hypodermic needles all over the place. They cleaned up one park, one little homeless encampment in Seattle not that long ago. I forget, maybe it was last summer, I don't know. But they were about halfway through cleaning up this location and they already found They'd already found, like over 300,000 hypodermic needles. Open borders. There's issues around that. What about invasion of your privacy? Everything's listening now. Your smartphone, your smart TV, your smart everything, your vehicle, your whatever it is. Everything's listening to you now. You have no privacy. I thought that was one of those rights. Division being pushed at every turn. White versus black. Religious versus not. Left versus right. Come on. Division is stupid. We need to go past that and love each other. Morality, or the lack thereof. Moral degradation of society on an ever-increasing level. Another one, farms paid to plow into their crops. I know, that's been going on for a long time. But it seems like it's definitely increasing. It's happening a lot more. Also, who's buying up farmland? People pushing the meatless agenda. And ranches. They're buying up ranches so they can just not ranch. So there's no meat. So they can push their agenda. Also buying up water. Big, powerful people are doing that. Fake news. Mainstream media. What's true, what's not. Independent media. What's true, what's not. Everybody has their agenda, no matter what. If it's an agenda that I agree with or from my side, it's still an agenda. Cancel culture is disgusting. PC attitude, politically correct. Don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Feelings. Like you have your right to not have your feelings hurt. Where did that come from? Nowhere. Increasing taxes, taxation. We see it. Property taxes, sales taxes, vehicle mileage taxes, fuel taxes. The size of government. Yeah, it's been always increasing. It's just increasing exponentially now. It's crazy. Religious persecution. People may say, oh, how are you being persecuted to being religious? Well, it's not like they're coming down to churches and burning them down and, hunting us down and killing us. But there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff like, what about religious exemptions for, say, free will issues? Whether or not we want to get that or not. What about the murder of life? Freedom of speech. Do we have it? We don't have it on this platform, I know for sure. I know for a fact. A lot of other platforms also. We don't have the right to say what we want to anymore because of the cancel culture, the PC attitude, not offending anybody, not hurting anybody's feelings. And I'm sorry, I kind of got on a roll here. But remember, we're unafraid. We prep at a peace of mind, not out of fear. I'm not saying this to all be all blah, blah, blah. We need to elevate ourselves above these things. To be positive, loving, and kind. But we need to know these things. Personal debt, big time, has been increasing a lot. I don't have all the stats and all the numbers. I've heard them. I can't recall them off the top of my head. The public indoctrination system, aka the public school system, indoctrinating our kids. Also the attack on homeschooling, making homeschooling more difficult in certain locations, in certain situations. Some places are still free. Self-reliance or lack thereof. Think back 2 generations. My grandparents, for example. How much more self-reliant they were. They knew how to cook from scratch, bake from scratch, grow things, raise animals. So many more skills that a lot of Americans nowadays don't have. There are a lot of Americans out there, may surprise you, that don't even know how to cook from scratch. If it's not in a bag or a box, they don't know how to do it. It's scary. Fiat currency and the fact that Russia and other countries are probably pushing towards it also are no longer fiat currencies because they actually went on to the gold standard. Their currency is actually backed by something tangible, something that matters, whereas ours isn't, which is going to affect us. It's going to affect the value of the US dollar. The petrodollar may not be the petrodollar anymore pretty soon. Like I said, these are things to think about. I want you guys to stay positive, though. We got to stay positive. We got to prepare. We got to elevate ourselves above this stuff, especially like division, cancel culture. You know, it's okay to disagree. You don't believe exactly like I do. I don't believe exactly like you do. But that's okay. We can still get along. We can still coexist. We can still maybe even be friends. We don't have to agree on everything. We just have to respect each other's rights to believe in what we believe in. We have to respect free will. I love you guys. Have a wonderful day, and blessings to you and yours.